Good day. So today we'll talk about the area between curves. So let me illustrate. Here we have a Cartesian plane. We have two functions, f of x yung kulay blue, g of x yung kulay red. And let's define an interval kung saan continuous yung dalawang functions. So we have here an interval from a to b. And ang gusto nating hanapin ay yung area nitong region bounded by f on top, g sa baba, and the interval from a to b. So essentially itong region na to yung kulay green. Now yung magiging approach natin dito will be similar dun sa approach natin sa pagkuha ng definite integral, which is the area bounded by a curve, the x-axis, and yung intervals. Now ang difference lang niya, instead na x-axis yung isang boundary nung region natin, either on top or below, another function yung nagsiserve as the lower or upper boundary. And keep in mind again that here we're talking about areas. So we are expecting that our results will be positive. Hindi siya yung definite integral na positive above the x-axis and negative below the x-axis. Since we're looking at area measurements between two curves, this should always be positive values. So how will we proceed sa pag-find nung area between two curves? So similar nga sa idea natin sa definite integrals, we could subdivide our interval into n subintervals or n rectangles na each approximating yung area nung subinterval na yon na bounded by a portion of the function sa taas and a portion of the second function sa baba. So in this case, itong purple na rectangle na to, isa siyang approximating rectangle. And we will pick an x value in that subinterval na tatawagin nating x sub I kasi this is supposed to be the ith subinterval. And we will evaluate yung function sa taas as well as yung function sa baba using yung x sub I na yon. So here we have 2 points. On function f, we have x sub I, f x sub I. On function g, we have x sub I, syempre same x value dapat, g x sub I. So in this point, yung y-coordinate niya is f of x sub I. For this point, yung y-coordinate niya ay g of x sub I. And those two y-coordinates, yung difference nila yung magbibigay sa atin nung height nitong rectangle na to. And since all the points in f in this interval mas mataas dun sa corresponding point sa g, si f minus g, this will always be a positive value. So ang gagawin natin is for each approximating rectangle, i-multiply natin yung height dun sa width or base nung ating rectangles. So let's write it down. Yung area of the ith approximating rectangle, so a sub I, this will be equal to the height, yung f minus g of x sub I, times yung width nung approximating rectangle, which is b minus a, yung length nung entire interval, divided by the number of approximating rectangles, in this case n. Ito yung gagawin natin later na delta x. And kung i-illustrate na natin yung n approximating rectangles, like this one, so approximation pa lang to kasi hindi pa infinite yung n. Yung approximate area ng region using these rectangles could be given by the sum from I equals 1 to n of each f of x sub I minus g of x sub I, quantity na yon, times yung b minus a over n or delta x, which is what we have here. And again, if we want to make the area exact, edi papadamihin natin yung approximating rectangles will let n approach infinity. So, this will be an exact area. Let's rewrite our expression na ang exact area, A, makukuha natin if we take the limit as n approaches infinity of the summation from I equals 1 to n of the expression na nakita natin kanina. Itong expression na nasa baba. Now, if we pause and take a look at our expression below, yung limit as n approaches infinity of the summation from I equals 1 to n ni f minus g of x times delta x, ano ba yan? That is precisely the definite integral from a to b ni f minus g of x dx. And this should not come as a surprise to us because we applied the same reasoning na ginamit natin sa paghanap ng definite integral tsaka ng area under a curve. Instead of yung lower boundary natin is the x-axis, our lower boundary is another function. Yun lang naman yung nagbago. All the other reasoning stayed the same. So to summarize, if you want to find the area between two curves in a given interval, yung function na nasa taas, yung convention natin ay f of x, tapos yung function na nasa baba, na ang convention natin here is g of x, that area will be given by the definite integral from a to b ni f minus g of x. So I think that follows directly naman from what we have seen of the definite integral. And in our next videos, we will take a look at some exercises, some problems para ma-apply naman natin tong concept na to. So until then, salamat sa pakikinig.